Well, good morning. Welcome back to the Broadcast Retirement Network. I'm Jeff Snyder. This is BRN AM for Friday, May 13th, 2022. And our top story today, in control at 50 plus, how to succeed in the new world of work. Well, joining me now to discuss this and a lot more is Carrie Hannon. She is an author. She's author of the brand new book, In Control at 50 plus, and she's also a columnist with Yahoo Finance. Carrie, great to see you again. Thanks so much for joining us on the program this morning.
Thank you. I appreciate the invitation.
Absolutely. Let's talk about the book. I want to talk about that in our first segment. We're just joking that I joined our group now, so I'm not part of the 50 plus category. Let's talk about getting in control at 50 plus, which I think is number one on the Amazon books for job search, career search. Tell us about the book. What went into it for you?
Oh, Jeff, thanks so much. I'm really excited about this book because what I did is I looked and really dug down beneath the covers a bit to see what are the major trends that sort of have come up through the pandemic. What is emerging as our new workplace? And let me tell you, these are fundamental, really fundamental changes that have impacted our workplace today and in the future. So I looked at the 5 major trends, and we can dig into each of them, but very quickly, it's remote work, it's contract work, entrepreneurship, a rise in education and opportunities for lifelong learning and the necessity for that. And the 5th one is career transition, which is something that is just really, and all of these categories, Jeff, can be applied to all age groups. It's just at this age, we are particularly vulnerable. And I think it's very important to pay attention so that we can really own our careers, own our working lives and our personal lives, and take control.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I love the fact that you say being a lifelong learner. And I try to apply that to my life. Let's tackle remote work because a lot of us, let's start with that trend first, because a lot of us still working remotely. I know you and I are not in the same place. We're not even in the same state. We're working remotely. Talk about that trend and how it relates to 50 plus. Should we be looking for jobs that are remote, solely remote, or hybrid remote?
Well, I think it's really an individual choice in many cases. I think the going forward, hybrid work is going to be a model. It's going to be some in the office, some out of the office, but there are plenty of purely remote virtual jobs that we can have. And it doesn't mean working from home. It's working from any place. It's having that flexibility. And it also opens up the job market to work for employers that aren't in your hometown, that are, many, many miles away from you. So I think the whole universe opens up to us for job possibilities. But the things I truly love about remote work for workers over 50 is that, Jeff, it goes a long way in fighting ageism. Because, and you and I have talked about that in the show in the past, it's a very pervasive thing in our culture and in our workplace. When you work remotely, you're not judged as much on your cover as you are when you're side by side with somebody several decades younger than you. It's subtle, but employers hire, your managers and so forth. They don't have that direct sort of visual comparison, and you are judged and scored on your performance and your productivity. And that's what really matters. So I think that's essentially, it's a really essential plus of remote work. The second piece is a lot of people say they're going to work longer. They're going to work well past 65, but a lot of them actually retire earlier than that. And it's usually, or often I should say, because of a health reason. Now, when you work remotely, it opens up this idea that you can work if you have a mobility issue of some sort. When you don't have that commute to an office, or your workplace isn't retrofitted to work for whatever your disability or your issue might be, man, it just, wow, if you can work remotely, it opens up, again, the possibilities to continue to work longer.
Yeah, and I know you and I have talked about ageism, and I have to say, here at BRN, we have multiple generations. We don't just have people my generation. We have people in their 70s and 80s, as well as people in their late teens helping out at our network. So I think that is the future, to your point. And really, you're right. It's about productivity. And I love, when I was a young person coming up, I loved working with more experienced people because I could get tidbits and take those tidbits from them and apply them to my job. And it makes me better. So I would caution all those employers out there. I think a diverse workforce with diverse opinions makes a lot of sense. Carrie, your thoughts?
Absolutely. The multi-generational workplace is here to stay. And in fact, Jeff, it is a reality because we do not have a growing workforce. We have the population, as a demographer would look at it, we don't have as many younger people coming up, right? So employers have to pay attention. It is no longer a pyramid where you had a lot of older workers younger workers and older workers. It's now a column. And so they need to pay attention that older workers, they need them in the workplace. They need to retain them. And the younger ones, they absorb so much, like you said, knowledge from the two. But one thing I love to think about is a colleague someone I really admire, Mark Friedman, who started Encore.org. He often says the fountain of youth is the fountain with youth. So for somebody who's a little more experienced, the opportunity to work with someone younger is so energizing. And I do believe it's a two-way street.
Absolutely. And again, I think employers, large, small, mega, really need to look at their culture and see how to work with all types. Because to your point, and by the way, Carrie, it's not just the US, it's China, it's Europe. It's an aging world. We're all getting older. The birth rates are down. Last question for this segment before we transition to a commercial break. Let's talk about the gig work. Should I be thinking, if I'm 50 plus and I want to be in control, should I think about freelancing and in addition to looking for full-time jobs? That seems like a really good way to take advantage of my skill set or an experienced person's skill set.
Oh, I love it. I always freelanced on the side when I was in-house with companies. And I think moving forward, contract work is often the name of the game. Employers figured out during the pandemic that they could bring a lot of people on, really experienced, talented people, and not have to pay benefits, right? Bring you in for projects short term. So there's a good and a bad to that, because if you need benefits and so forth, if you're kind of under 65 and still want that employer provided medical care, perhaps, or employer provided retirement plan, yeah, that might not be the best thing, but moving forward, I think it opens the door for all kinds of having control of your work life and building that work-life balance and saying, working, doing things that fit your mission. I want to do more of this. Let me do this. I'm going to plug in here and really make a difference in the world by choosing your work. And this comes to being financially stable and financially secure. So that's a big piece of it that you and I also talk about quite a bit. But that if it depends on your financial situation, but if you can make it work with contract positions, it can be very, very positive for your managing your own work life.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, before we go to commercial break, I'm thinking about the movie. There was a movie with Kathy Bates. She was waiting to park. Some little youngster moved in and took her spot. And then she hit that person and the other person got upset. And she said, hey, I get better rates as an experienced driver, something to that effect. So anyway, there's a lot of value in experience. And again, really important. Carrie, I need to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk more with Carrie Hannon and the changing American workplace. You're going to want to stay tuned right here on BRN AM. Imagine a new television network that will make you richer, healthier, and in control of your financial future. This network is for the policewoman in Nashville, Tennessee, the baker in Dubuque, Iowa, the teacher in Lexington, Kentucky. We want to make the idea of savings and retirement culturally relevant. But what do you see as a defining issue of the midterms, especially for the smaller businesses? I mean, they are the lifeblood of the American economy. Featuring exclusive interviews, current affairs, and docuseries. 33 years old, you retired early.
The philosophy is money only matters if it helps you live a life that you love.
But you got to start thinking about retirement as soon as you get in.
The Broadcast Retirement Network will drive very high engagement with premium partnerships. So this isn't retirement and savings for your parents or grandparents. This is for all Americans. And we're going to change the way you think about money. Welcome to the next frontier of retirement and savings. This is BRN, the Broadcast Retirement Network.
Are you over 50? Would you like to get up to 33% more income in retirement? Then call now for this free book, Annuity Do's and Don'ts for Baby Boomers. This free book reveals little-known secrets about annuity strategies that will help you make the right choices before buying an annuity. Call right now for your free book, and as a bonus, we'll also throw in a free annuity rate report, both absolutely free for calling Annuity General today.
Call 800-504-8194.
Welcome back. We're joined this morning by author and columnist Carrie Hannon. Carrie, thanks so much for staying with us this morning.
Of course, of course.
And again, Carrie's got a great book out, In Control at 50 Plus. You can get it on Amazon. Carrie, let's talk about the hybrid return to work. You talked a little bit about the changing workforce, the changing workplace. This is interesting to me. The rank and file are returning to the office, but executives and bosses, not so much. And I wanted to get your feedback on this.
Yeah, hello. I have a piece in Yahoo Finance that came out last week looking at a study that came out from the Future Forum that studied workers globally. And what they found is there's twice as many non-management or non-exec workers are back in the office 5 days a week full time. So where are the bosses? And this, Jeff, is causing quite a bit of anxiety and unhappiness, and these workers are not happy about this.
Yeah. So what is the thinking here? So when I was a manager and I'm a leader, I like to be in the office and always showing everybody, demonstrating my work ethic and also leading from up front. And I think that has a lot of value, and you can hear your direct reports better than you can on Zoom. But what does this say about, I get it, we have a changing workforce. Is it the makeup of the management? Are they younger or are they senior? What are the reasons here? It's so weird.
The study didn't explore exactly why they're not coming back to work as much as their workers are, the managers versus the non-managers. But what I interviewed a bunch of workplace experts, and I include myself in that group as well. And I think there are several perhaps explanation. Maybe they feel like they play by a different set of rules, which is really, really bad for workplace culture. And this is a recipe for disaster. Or maybe they feel like they don't need to have those kind of interpersonal interactions because the work they do doesn't demand that as much. Or another explanation might be that many of them are over 60 and they're concerned about their health, even if they've been vaccinated or boosted, and maybe they still have concerns about gathering in the office. Any way you look at it, the optics are bad. And what the study showed is that these workers who are very, are anxious and feel that they actually say it's worse than it was in 2020, how they feel about their workplace and so forth. And they say, hey, we're going to start looking for a job. So when you think about the Great Resignation, Jeff, and the fact that the most recent statistics that came out from the Bureau of Labor Statistics last week said that 4.5 million workers quit in March. Do employers really want more people quitting?
No, I don't think they do at all. And you mentioned the lack of culture, the change in the culture. The last thing, I think a lot of what you do as a manager is build trust, leadership, and what you do as a manager to lead a team is all built on trust and chemistry. If your team doesn't have that trust and you're just making it a 0-1, like, okay, Jane Doe, John Doe did this, and we're just going to give them a 5 out of 5 or a 4 out of 4, and there's nothing about guiding someone to the next step in their level, it becomes very transactional, Carrie. I would look for another job to find the opportunity that is going to get me to where I see myself being in 5 to 10 years.
Yeah, and Jeff, one of the big findings in the study also shows that what do they want? What they want is very simple. They want flexibility, right? They don't necessarily, they're not hung up on the location where they work. Everyone thinks that's the issue. Yes, to a certain extent, they want flexibility to work remotely. But what they really want is flexibility to work when they can work. They want flexibility in their schedule, and they feel like they have no control over their working hours. And if you're a caregiver who stepped out of the workplace to care for children or aging parents, I mean, this has become, we really did that soul searching and realized this is a priority.
Carrie, any sense so you've got different layers of management, and I don't know, this is rank and file management, middle management, senior management. But I have to think that if you're like in a public company or even a larger company and you're looking down at seeing this behavior, wouldn't you want to adjust course and change things? I mean, it can't bode well for your business. It can't bode well for continuity. Wouldn't you want to make changes? And by the way, Carrie, it may not just be corporations. It could be government. It could be not-for-profit. So let's not leave those people out as well.
No, I think it's... Yeah.
But you want continuity. Sorry, go ahead.
I mean, hopefully this is a wake-up call that maybe they're not paying attention, that workers notice. They know that their bosses aren't coming in. And the other interesting thing I read about this morning, actually, is that a lot of companies are actually tracking the people who are flashing their little, cards, showing their cards to swiping it to get in the office. They're tracking how many times, who's coming in and who's not coming in. And they're reporting that data to the managers. Now, this is like, it's not that they maybe never did that before, but it's even more in your face, this tracking of who's coming in the office. And how are they going to, this is how they're going to police it? And will you not get promoted? And like you mentioned earlier, will you not be, because you've chosen, to take a little more control? I don't know. It's just, it's worth a lot of discussion.
I think so. I think they need to hire the truant officers that were getting when I was a kid growing up, there were truant officers that would say, okay, kids, you got to be in school. Maybe they have to have them in the workplace as well. Carrie, this does not bode well for a return to work, for a successful career. I think we're going to have to keep watching this trend. Carrie Hannon, always great to chat with you. Great topics today. Good luck with the book. I'm going to check it out, and I think a lot of people should as well. Have a great rest of your day, and we thank you for sharing your perspective.
Thank you. Take care.
That wraps up this episode of BRN AM. Have a topic of interest, someone you think we should talk to, drop us a line. And don't forget, for all the latest curated news and lifestyle, wellness, finance, tech, so much more all in one place, check out today's edition of our daily newsletter, The Morning Pulse. Want to search our archives, check out our latest content? Well, visit our website and our streaming partners like Amazon, Roku, Samsung. You've got over 100 to choose from. You can't miss us. We're back again tomorrow for another edition of our show. This time it's BRN Weekly. We'll be taking a look back at some of our best segments for the week. Until then, I'm Jeff Snyder. Stay safe, keep on saving, and don't forget, roll with the changes. Now is your opportunity to co-create content around any topic on the First Lifestyle and Wellness Network. Reach a global audience through our platform and co-own exclusive branded content. All of our programs are available on demand and also as audio-only podcasts, so you can take us on the go. Broadcast Retirement Network, available anytime, anywhere, and on any device.
Are you being audited and do you owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes? Is the IRS threatening to take more of your money? Don't fight the IRS alone. The Tax Doctor is here to help you negotiate your tax bill and reduce your stress. The IRS can freeze your assets and seize your bank accounts, but you can stop these IRS actions. The Tax Doctor will work with you using our years of experience to represent your case to help you get the best resolution under the IRS guidelines. Help is here to deal with the IRS to reduce your stress. We've handled thousands of cases, so we know what we're doing. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes, do not call the IRS alone. Call a tax doctor now for a tax emergency analysis.
Call 800-224-6439.